Let's talk about fiber because I don't really eat fiber, and I know I got Brett Lloyd in here telling me he hasn't had fiber in 1,472 days or whatever he's at now. That's a controversial statement. If you don't eat fiber, you're going to get colon cancer, you're going to get heart disease, all these things. And a carnivore diet, pretty much, people ask me, where do you get your fiber from? I say, don't. What are your thoughts on fiber? Why? And you've got, like you said, the Fiber Talks sponsored by Kellogg's or something like that. What's the deal on fiber and your thoughts?
Yeah. So the whole idea that fiber is important for us, again, it all comes back to the Seventh Adventist Movement, which is a religious movement that truly believes that eating plant foods is going to suppress your urges so that you don't masturbate, because masturbation is a sin. And that way you can go to heaven. That's how it started. So of the main players in the Seventh Adventist Movement, you had Ellen G. White, who was the founder and really put it all together. And then she brought in Harvey Kellogg's, yes, the person who did the whole cornflakes, put him through medical school and supported him. And he eventually, after he graduated, he opened up a sanitarium, what's it called? Something Creek,
Battle Creek.
Battle Creek, yeah. Battle Creek Sanitarium, where they did all kinds of health cleanses and stuff. And a major thing they pushed also was vegetarianism. That Harvey Kellogg's is the same person who developed cornflakes as a business project and pushed it on everybody because he believed, based on his works, to make people healthier. That also means like religiously healthier. And so that means we need to squash their hormones and make sure they don't have any urges. He would say that he spent 40 years, even though he was married, without consummating his marriage. Like, just, complete psychopaths are what have influenced the whole discussion regarding what's healthy and what's not. And then we started with Ellen G. White, right? She supported Harvey Kellogg's. Okay. She also, she supported Harvey Kellogg's, who opened up the Battle Creek Sanitarium. And then Harvey Kellogg's got Lena G. Cooper, another woman who was also part of the Seventh Adventist Movement. And she headed the dietetics department in that sanitarium. And then after she headed the dietetics department there, meaning just giving out vegetarian advice, then she co-founded the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics.
Yeah, and by 1917, I believe, or something like that, 14 or 17, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the foundations of the American Academy of Dietetics and Nutritionists was founded by these Seventh-day Adventist folks who believe in vegetarianism. But, with fiber, you can look at, the people that are pro-fiber say there are literally thousands of studies that support fiber-rich diets, and most of them are epidemiologic studies. Why do they have those findings? Are all those studies conflict of interest, or is there something, like my thought is, what are you comparing it to? If you're comparing it to standard American junk food diet, then perhaps it's an improvement. But what are your thoughts on why we see those consistent relationships anyway?
It all starts with our biases, and researchers are no different, right? They're already biased to believe that veggies are healthier. So when, after a very hard time to get a grant, I'm talking about how hard it is, first of all, to get an assistant professorship, let alone get a grant, get the ball moving and set up a lab. So having said all that, I'm not going to go into that. It's just very, very hard to do that. Once you do that and you have your position and you have now funding, you are very much more likely to get funded if you are working within the narrative, as opposed to if you say, I want to look at a zero carb diet, So they're already biased to try and see the differences between a healthy and unhealthy diet. What they mean by a healthy diet is what everybody thinks is healthy, which is veggies and low fat and all that kind of stuff. It has very little to do with science. You would be shocked just to see how much our biases influence the researchers, when they pick a topic to choose. So they're climbing the wrong mountain. They're almost 99%, if not more, of nutrition science is all based on the biases that those researchers already have. And
So,
so they're only looking at, like what you said, a healthy versus unhealthy diets. And what that means is like a junk food diet versus a plant-based diet.
so, the critics of this sort of reasoning would say, well, they're telling you to eat vegetables, and big broccoli is not out there making billions of dollars like PepsiCo is. So how does that do? Is it just that if they tell you to eat vegetables and not to eat meat, you're not going to do it and you're going to eat junk food? Is that how that works? Or why would they be saying eat fruits and vegetables? Why don't they just say eat processed food all day long? Although I have seen now a number of dietitians defending processed foods. I mean, I see that now, which is really bizarre to me. But why aren't the recommendations you should be eating mostly? I mean, we hear the whole grain stuff from time to time, actually quite a bit. But why would they be telling you to eat vegetables? Where are they making money off of that? How do they make money off of that?
I think at some point they believe it, like at some point you do that long enough, they truly do believe that is the way. I mean, I've worked with them, I've studied with them. They eat their salads every day. They're doing it to themselves. It's not like it's a huge conspiracy. It's just they've been brainwashed. They went through the system. They believe it works. And so, they try, and they try to go with those research kinds of studies which show them exactly what they want to see, what they already have hypothesized might be true, that of course a whole food plant-based diet is of course going to be healthier than somebody on a junk food diet. And so now those studies come out and then you start to believe it, right? So
What are the problems? I mean, because you do see a lot of people, they get skinny eating nothing but salads. I mean, it's that is the skinny girl's diet, right? Salad dressing on the side, a little teeny piece of chicken maybe. And you can get skinny doing that. But what is it? Is there a downside to that?
Yeah. Autoimmunity, psoriasis, multiple sclerosis, stunting of growth in your children, weak bones. I mean, the list goes on, depending on your genetic vulnerabilities, depression, anxiety. I follow a lot of fitness models on Instagram, and they eat the traditional, like veggies and plant foods and coconut oil and all that kind of stuff. And they pay attention so much to what they eat in terms of quantities and what they think is healthy, and they look great in terms of fitness, in terms of like how much muscle and body fat they have. Mm-hmm. But they're also taking an antidepressant and their body's covered from head to toe in psoriasis.
Not all of them though. Again, I'll be doing that. I mean, it's
no. I'm thinking of one person because it's just so frustrating. I even texted her because like she posts so much, and it's like I'm so depressed and I'm so sad. I'm like, listen, I hate to give out advice when it's unsolicited. Most people they'll never do anything with it unless they come to you to ask you. But I get frustrated and I have to tell them, just try this diet. I mean, you're struggling so much. You're spending thousands upon thousands of dollars on medication for those things. But yeah, I mean, I feel every single, most of the models, unless they're in their 20s and early 30s and they're still fresh, they still haven't, they can get away with that for a while, just focus on the calories just to be in shape, but then they're also struggling with headaches, and eventually it starts to wear down. And I see it all the time.